So getting into volume 5 of Moonlit Fantasy, this is where I was told that there would be much more deviation from the actual sort of anime to light novel situation. And at the start, I was questioning that. I was like, okay, it doesn't really seem too much, But partway through it, once you kind of get to the librarian situation, that's when things start to deviate. Now, it isn't be-all, end-all in volume 5. I have a feeling now that it's started, it's going to continue to go in a sort of a bit more of a deviation. And there are some interesting things in this, particularly to do with the librarian, because it indicates that she was giving information to other individuals about him, sort of like an insider. So there seems to be a little bit of more of a backstory about her kind of pruned out of the anime. Now, maybe the reason why they decided to prune that out was because it maybe added unnecessary complications. Maybe it's just a storyline that they just felt that they didn't need to have there. Knowing her backstory and her sister's backstory, which is the girl that works at the hot pot place, and then you've got the librarian chick, as they call her. You've got those two, those sisters. They've got a backstory. So I know what that backstory is before even this volume goes into it. So I wonder if that's maybe tied into why she was that kind of like informant character. For those that kind of were wondering, if you're basing on who I'm talking about. Of course, if you've watched the anime, then you know I'm referring to. And if you've read the light novels, then you know exactly what I'm referring to. Don't need to put names on there. Just the librarian chick and the hot pot chick from the store. So you get into a lot more of the backstory for that and those kinds of things. I have a feeling Volume 6 will explain more of that, but this does feel like Volume 5 and Volume 6 probably go very closely together, because it feels like Volume 5 is building up to a lot of things. Then you've got the wives situation, which it delves into much more explaining why he's getting irritated, to the point where like girls are trying to enter the classroom that he's teaching, or the class that he's teaching, to just try and get close to him. Like, they don't even want to be his number one wife. And that's actually a funny part in the volume that I kind of wish was in the anime, is he actually meets one of these girls and he actually says, okay, I'll be your wife, but you have to be my number one wife. Like, it's just me and you kind of thing. And then instantly they're like, no. So they only wanted to be like second, third, fourth, like concubines. They didn't want to be like his main wife, his main squeeze. They just wanted to be like a side one where they wouldn't have to deal with him. And basically, as he says, use the name, use the influence to rebuild their family up. That's purely it. Now, in the anime, it does explain that. It's just in the light novels, it really explains the fact that the girls just don't see him attractive at all. Like, they do not like his looks. He's unattractive to them. In the anime, you could maybe think that they maybe find him slightly cute or something. Maybe they're like, oh, I'm willing to let this go just so I can be, his squeeze or his wife so that I can get some money, but I'm willing to... But no, it kind of really emphasizes that it's just a power play for them. They do not care. And they're willing to jump through a lot of hoops to try and get with him. Now, I've still got a speculation, even with this volume, that the two sisters from the Rembrandt, forget it right, I do have a speculation that they might have a bit of a crush on him, which is interesting, being that humans generally don't seem to find him attractive. Like, they find him quite unattractive. So I still do have that theory that those girls might have a bit of a crush on him. But yeah, you've got two other individuals, a dragon and a spider, that are particularly more fond of him. So that could go very ugly. But I just think it's just an innocent crush kind of thing. Believe that for a while. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't want any spoilers. I'll see as time goes on. But it's just a speculation. Then you find out more about the guns and stuff. So the other empire that's sort of developing guns. So you know that from the anime as well, because it's in there. It goes into more of his disdain for it and how he doesn't want that to be developed. And he kind of refers to his own past life and all that kind of stuff. Like, even though he says, magic is substantially better, but he does weigh up the positives, which the anime does as well. But there's a little bit more details in why he's so opposed to it. And it's just more of the fact that he's emphasizing the dangers of it, the path that it can go down, and the influence of having his past culture on, or his past world on this current world, and making sure that he doesn't bring the negative parts of it, the more dangerous, vile, killing kind of component of it, and bring in only the stuff over that's, like, you know, useful. And there's this last little chapter as well about cups, teacups. I just wanted to add that in because it references the culture aspect of him trying to bring over different things that are useful, that could, you know, sell well, or just adds more luxury to things and makes people's lives slightly better. So it's just one thing that wasn't in there too, which is the whole, like, ogre jewel kind of thing going on, and the cup situation. Then you've got the tree drama. I know that sounds weird. Tree drama. Trees, apples, drama. So one of the things that's interesting is, and this is something I didn't think about until this volume, which is kind of cool. What would happen if, say for example, someone bought a bunch of apples from him and his company, and then decided to replant the apples and try to grow their own apple trees? That's the question, which apparently did happen in this. And it basically created a problem. It just went wild. Like, it created a bio problem, like, out of control country. It reminds me of a Shield Hero particular part of one of the volumes and in the anime where someone grabbed the seeds and didn't think it through and planted it somewhere, and then it grew out of control. A little bit different than that, but it kind of reminded me of that a little bit, where it's like, okay, if you're not careful what you plant in certain biomes and environments, it could end up becoming disastrous. And so that kind of brought up the apple drama, where, yeah, the environment, and it's been mainly because of the, if I get it correctly, because again, I just read the volume the other night, over a couple of days, so I might forget the exact details, but it's like the mana kind of thing. It like sucks up all the mana kind of thing. And so in the Mist world, where he has control, it's a lot more lavish, a lot more mana kind of things going on. Like, it's a better environment for these types of things to grow in, while in the other world, not so much. So it creates issues. And it creates issues with the soil. Then you have the banana stuff as well, which is basically the bananas explains why the ogres are so addicted to it, or certain ogres, is because it's basically become almost like tobacco. It's like they're addicted to it, which is kind of interesting about that. I wonder if there's going to be more delved into that, because yeah, the banana situation kind of reminds me of like an addiction. Like they're getting their cravings. It isn't just like oh, I really love bananas and I have a fetish for bananas kind of thing like the anime does. It puts it more of a comedic sense. No, the light novels makes it sound like it's like an addiction. Like they're really like hung up over it. Like they emotionally have withdrawals. They really need that craving. And it actually explains in the light novels that, yeah, they kind of gave themselves a weakness, these ogres, because now they're basically controlled by this supply of bananas that can seem to be only grown in there. And they're also trying to work out ways how they can grow different certain fruits and stuff in that world, because there are certain things that have sprung up that are kind of like, okay, yeah, we have these, but how do we replant them? So like apples or tomatoes, those kind of like different things. I'm just using an example because of seeds. Some of them don't have seeds. And the bananas, if I remember correctly, yeah, so I'm just getting this right. The bananas in this Mist world don't have seeds, but in his memories, it mentions about having seeds in them. And so they're confused at why there's no seeds in them. And then he's like, oh, really? There were seeds? So they go really far back into his memory. I think I got that right. Because they can't work out how to replant them because they don't have any seeds. And so they're kind of working out ways of, yeah, cultivating these bananas. So it kind of shows that I think his mind can almost like the origins of it. It's some interesting stuff that they go into with this particular volume. Now, of course, all the normal stuff is in there, like the guild assassinations, the drama over the exams, the teacher kind of stuff. I do find it funny that he was meant to be a student, ends up becoming a teacher, ends up teaching a select amount of students, and ends up having those two girls join. It's all the same stuff there. It's just those extra things, as I mentioned, are in this. And like I said, this doesn't break the anime in its deviation, but I have a feeling that now we've already started to see an amount of deviation in this volume. We're going to see more of it in, say, volume 6 and 7, etc. And that's where you're going to start seeing that push away, where there might be some major differences. We'll just have to wait and see. Again, I know some light novel fans might say one thing and it might not. That's why I like to read through it first before I make a judgment on that. I don't base my judgment based on what people tell me, but I wanted to note on it because many light novel fans are saying, yeah, there's a big difference between the anime and the light novels. And in Volume 5, there is a lot of cool little details. Like I said, it doesn't break the anime, but it does really explain some interesting things that are going on between the Mist world and the current world, and some of the things going on in his life and how and why he sees things the way he does. It's like in the previous volumes, the way he sees the two girls, the spider and the dragon, how he sees them romantically, and it explains why he doesn't pursue them romantically, because he kind of sees them as a little bit too wonkos at times, and their relationship is very different. So it's not one of those where it's like he's a dense main protagonist. He generally thinks those things through. And I think he just wants to be like close to other humans, but again, because he's so ugly to them, there's that issue. It also does go into beauty as well in this volume as well, a little bit more, because there's such an emphasis on beauty. Like, that's the thing, the goddess is obsessed with beauty, and it talks about that in previous volumes too, where there's like makeup and all that kind of stuff, and he talks about how like he's not interested in selling those kinds of things because apparently it's a big request, but there's a big demand for medicine as well. So, and then having such a supply and demand and making sure that people don't buy and try and resell them, and there's also this kind of like almost spy branch kind of thing potential being built on. This is why I love Moonlit Fantasy. It does a lot of things that I kind of wish another series did properly or did more deeply. And maybe I might talk about it in another video, comparisons of that, and why I like how this series has done that, because I want to see more of it being built out. We're at volume 5, and I feel like by the time we hit volume, say, like 8 to 10, I feel like we'll get a really good idea, because it's not fast-paced world building, it's building on those layers, and especially with the environment stuff and all that, it does go into it piece by piece by piece. So I absolutely love Volume 5. I'm going to be getting into Volume 6 very soon, so I'll be definitely looking forward to where the deviation continues from there. So again, love to know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you like this video, hit the like, subscribe, and I'll see you beautiful nerds in the next video.